Hello, it's Ben from Video Blog Basics, and today what we're going to do is help Shane finish up one of the videos that he has recorded through Screenflow, a webinar that he did with, who is it, Tyler, who there? Shane, I can't quite read it on your desktop, so.
This is Tyler Tervoren's video.
Okay, cool. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a couple assumptions. If you do a webinar, generally there's, maybe a cough or a sneeze or something like that, but as long as you're okay with just leaving that in, we don't necessarily have to go hunting for it. And so we're just going to do a real basic edit. What we're going to do is take this Screenflow file that Shane has, we're going to put the intro on it, and then we're going to render it out. So this should actually just take a couple of minutes here, Shane.
Okay.
So, first thing I want you to do, if you've closed down Screenflow, you're obviously going to have to open it up again. And Tyler's file's right there on your desktop, so double click it so Screenflow opens up.
Alrighty, I will double click that, and there it is.
Cool. So now what we're going to do is, if you look at the top left of Screenflow, there is a picture of a film strip with a music note on top of it. That's sort of your asset files. That's where you put your music and everything. So I want you to click on that tab. It's in the top right.
Okay, this one right here.
No, keep moving over. It's the one with the film strip and the music note.
Okay. Media, okay.
Right. So right in there, at the bottom of that panel now, you have Add Media. Go down to there and add the intro file, which you put onto the desktop. Make sure you have all these things handy, and you know where they are. So that intro MOV file, just click on that and hit open, and that'll bring that asset into this Screenflow document so that we're good to go.
Okay, excellent.
So the next thing that we need to do is we need to find out where you started the webinar. Like I know you hit record probably a minute or two or maybe 10 minutes before you actually started the webinar.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so what we need to do is we have to establish where that is. Now, I was just talking to Shane before I started this webinar, and this is a trick that I do. Is just before I start a webinar or anything like that, is I either clap 3 times or I click my fingers 3 times. And what you'll notice in the very bottom here, above the producer USB and the screen recording, you can see the sound file, or basically the waveform for the sound. If you do 3 clicks, it becomes very easy to see where it starts. So that'll be a trick that we have to do in the future. But in the meantime, what we got to do, Shane, is basically get down there and get into the timeline of this video and figure out where you started. So do you have any sort of clue as to where you started the webinar at?
I'm pretty sure that I started it just like a few short minutes before it began.
Okay. Well, then what we're going to do first is we're going to make, basically what we're reviewing is, you can see probably very close to the entire Screenflow recording that you have. Problem with that is that it doesn't give you a whole lot of information. So if you look at the very bottom left of Screenflow, you see a magnifying glass slider. Slide it so that it starts increasing the size so that you're getting closer. You'll notice that the minutes and everything will start expanding out. So that, I believe, is getting, you're getting real close and very macro zoomed in. So maybe go back just a little bit. Okay, that should be good right about there. Now, if you look at the waveforms on the bottom on the screen recording, you can see that is going to be the guy that you were interviewing. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names here.
Tyler.
Okay, that'll be Tyler's voice, and the producer USB will be your voice. So you can see where Tyler was talking, and there's a bit of a pause. Like, there's a little bit of talking, there's a pause, a little blip, and then it starts up again. I'm thinking that is probably about where it started, is that second, just after that second pause. So take your cursor and put it just on the timeline, just above. You can see sort of like a dark gray line just underneath the play button right there. Now if you click
right
somewhere,
here?
if you click just, okay, actually the lighter gray just above it right there. Now click there. Now you see how that brought the timeline straight to your cursor?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So now here's the trick. Hit the space bar, it'll start playing and you'll be able to hear what you were talking about there.
Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay. So you know that you're going to
Okay.
be cutting that part out. But at this point, now what we need to do is figure out where you started the webinar. So with that, being able to take the cursor for the timeline, place it in a couple places where you think it should be, and hit the space bar and find out if that's about where it is. And essentially, we're just going to hunt down the start of the webinar. Then we're going to go back a little bit into the silence, and we're just going to cut everything before that out.
Okay. So hit the space bar and okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
No, all I see is I see the same page I saw before that says the journalist improved the woman start in 2 seconds. So if we
Yeah, this is one of those things where you can sit and wait, or you kind of look for some key things. Again, that's where if you'd clap 3 times or something of that nature, it would help out substantially in locating it. But we'll just keep
Let
going.
me go up here, Ben.
Yeah. And remember, you can zoom out a little bit if you want with that zoom slider, just to help you locate.
Okay.
The
Alright, let's see.
visuals would be a good sort of kickoff too, as far as where everything's going to be, because essentially you're going to go to share your screen, so that'll be when you start the slideshow presentation.
Mm-hmm.
So just scroll, and visually when you can see that you started your slideshow presentation will likely be where you very close to where you started.
I think it well.
Oh, there we are. Okay, I see now.
The one thing you can do too is that little cursor, you know how I showed you how you can place it on your screen? You can basically grab onto that cursor and drag it forward by hand manually.
Got it.
Right, so that helps out a little bit. Sorry, I missed that little bit.
There.
We go. Okay. So
It looks like 1 minute and 6 seconds if I go right here is where.
right, well, let's just listen to it and find out, like, you don't want a big pregnant pause at the very beginning either. So we got to find out where you start talking and doing the introduction. And then we're just
Okay.
going to go back a couple of seconds from that, and that's where we're going to make that cut. So I'd say play it from here forward a little bit. So just hit the space bar.
Okay. 1 minute and 9 seconds is where.
Okay. So right where you have that cursor, drag it back, just like, because you're so zoomed in, drag it back. Like, generally what I try to do is I like playing with, say, 2 to 3 seconds. Any more than, say, 3 seconds is what I'd consider pregnant pause. Here's one thing you can do is watch a TV show, and when you're watching a TV show, count how many seconds between each video cut. And while you're watching it, you'll probably find that most video cuts, and this surprises a lot of people, is between 1 second and 5 seconds. And a really long video cut will be about 10 seconds long. They're not long at all. So people's
Okay.
attention span can rarely span more than 10 seconds without getting bored. So make sure that the pause between you talking at the very start is never any more than 5 seconds. So
Okay.
right about here is good. Now what we're going to do, since your cursor's right there, is right click over top of the cursor,
Okay.
and it should ask you, okay, that's no markers. Okay, good. I see what's happening here. Now go down and click on the top waveform. Just, yeah, right there.
Okay.
Okay, now right click. And at this point, what you want to do is split clip at playhead. And you can see there's a
Okay.
shortcut key, but I like using the mouse. So do that there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now select the clip that's just below it. Do the same thing.
Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Okay.
Now, when you right-click on the cursor at the top, it might be just a location thing. This is just memory, but I think if I right-click up there, it can say split all. But we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to work through all this the way it is. Now that bottom file, you can right-click on it and delete it. Okay, not the whole that side. Yes, everything before where you want to start, just right-click on it and choose cut.
Oh, wow.
Okay, now do the same for the top one, but this is going to run a little different. So you're going to cut it, and then it's going to... Then what we're going to have to do here is I want you to zoom out a little bit so we can see where that gap is at the very beginning. Okay, good. Now you see how the timeline was kind of moving back? This point, just stop that. Now, box select both the top and the bottom waveform, or the two clips that you have. You can control select both of them, or you can just box select. So if you box select both of those.
Whoa.
Okay. Well, no, that's fine. That's essentially what we're going to do is exactly what you did do, but we're going to try to do both at the same time. So you want to select both of those clips. There you go.
Got it.
Now, click and drag them to the very beginning.
Okay.
So at that point, we've got the beginning of the video already. Now, excuse me for that. What we're going to do next here is that we're going to put the intro just in front of that. So go up to the where the intro clip is in the media browser on the right-hand side, and click on it and drag it right down to the front of one of those two clips that you have down there.
Like
Yep,
here.
that's perfect. Now drop it there. Okay, now what we're going to do is that we're going to zoom back in so that we can see a little bit more of that intro video. Perfect. Okay. Now, the divider between the two windows, you can see that it's not very big, and you can't see all the clips simultaneously, but you can if you just go, there's a dark line just underneath where the play button is. If you just hover over that, there'll be a split cursor that shows up, and you'll be able to drag that up so that you can see all three clips at the same time. Am I making any sense here? Yeah, no, go down a little lower, right there. Now drag that up. So now you can see all three clips. Now, what you can do is box select the bottom two clips. So when I say box select, that's click in the gray area just in front of where the intro movie is, and drag down and left, and let go of it, and it will select the bottom two clips, separate of the intro clip.
Okay, so there and there.
That's right. Now drag those forward until the very beginning of your clip is just at the end of the audio waveform of the intro. So you see how it all tapers down on the intro?
Yeah, right here.
Right. So drag the very front of the clips that you have selected below forward until they're just underneath that sort of taper off, right where the sound kind of dies out. Stop there.
Okay.
Okay. Next thing that we're going to do here is you're going to click on the intro MOV file at the top. Now at the very end, we don't need it to be pregnant, like basically have the pregnant sort of visual there after the audio. I leave that for editing purposes. If you hover over the back end of that, a little special cursor will show up, and that'll allow you to drag it backwards a little ways. And that's just going to basically, that's going to cut the clip down. Now drag it back until it's at the front of that speaker on the clip below. So you want to, no, keep going forward the other direction. Right about there.
Right there.
Now you see how the speaker, I leave like a little bit of a gap, not a huge one. The reason why is now if you right click on that intro,
okay,
it will ask you if you want to put a ending transition at the very bottom. Add ending transition. Okay? So what that will do is it will do a fade out. Now take your cursor to the very beginning, which is where it's at, and just hit the space bar, and let's see how it sounds and looks for the intro being added to everything.
So maybe put it here, right where it is.
Yeah, right where it is fine. So you just hit the space bar, and we should get a little playback. And then it should fade out and go right into you talking. Okay? Now, the next thing that we have here is that we're... Like, that seems to be pretty good. That's... could we hear you talking at the very beginning, though? Or did the music kind of over...
It seemed... If I go back, maybe to here, let me... Yeah. If I go back to here, I think... Let me try it. It's really, really close. I
Okay.
will say that.
No, that's fine. Now, there's a trick that I will show you guys in another video on ducking, but we're just going to do the basics here and get things so that people can get to work right away and do this. So some of the little finesse things, they're nice to have, but they're not critical for you to do the final render of this video. So we're not going to be too concerned about it. So the next thing that we got to do is that you'll notice that the intro video is a 720p video. So if you drag the cursor back just over top of the intro before you bring up your slideshow.
Oh, back here.
Yeah. You'll notice that, okay, now there's the default intro, or the default transition. It's not quite what we want, unless you want it to kind of slide in like that. If you like that graphic, that's fine. I like doing a crossfade.
Uh-huh.
So right-click in the transition area, and at that point choose, let's see, cross dissolve.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so there's a whole bunch that you can choose from here. And again, in a future video, I'll show everybody how to make the one that you like, the default one, so that, I always default it to a cross dissolve. I think it's just really clean. Everybody uses it, and you can't go wrong with it. So it should be fine. Now, you'll notice that the picture here is 720. So when I say 720, it's 1280 wide and 720 tall. But you can see that your screen is way bigger than that, and it just doesn't quite look good, right? So if you look just below the actual video window on the left-hand side, there is a crop button just above your intro clip. Now click on that. That's right. So click on that. Now what that will do is it will that's your canvas. So you can resize your canvas so that it fits the video size that you want to do. So the end video size that you want, and the end video size that we want is the 1280, is the canvas size. So right beside canvas you have two numbers. You want to type in 1280 by 720.
Okay, 720.
That's right. And hit apply.
Okay.
Okay, so now that's been resized. Now scrub your playhead or the cursor forward so that we can see your screen now, and we're going to resize your screen so it fits nicely in there. Now you can see that you obviously don't want the text to be sitting that sort of large. Now, if you click, actually that size is not too bad, is it, Shane?
It's not too bad because this is the only slide I believe with text that low.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click inside that window that you just finished cropping, the black area. Like click and drag that black area of your video, and you're going to be able to move it. Yeah. And at that point, you're going to be able to move it up a little bit just so that the text isn't on the bottom. So you just kind of move it to a spot that you like and let go. And it's snapping down to the bottom. Can you drag it up and then have it so that it kind of stays up, or is it not letting you do that?
There it went. It just did it.
Okay. So at that point, you just basically resize it so that it looks really good. It lands nice and you think visually it's fine. That's going to be good enough. Now, it's always good to just sort of scrub through your video, pull the cursor forward a little bit. You don't have to listen to the entire video, but just pull that cursor forward a little bit, and let's see if all the slides fit within that box nicely so that all the visuals are there.
Okay, so I'll go here.
And you might want to take the magnifying icon in the bottom left, move it around so that everything, or basically shrink it down so you can see more of the video. Yeah, exactly. It's about right there. Now if you scrub forward, you can see that the other slides, they all look pretty good.
Yeah, they look great, actually.
Okay. So now take that, the magnifying slider, slide it all the way back so you can see all the video clip from start to finish. It'll be the other direction. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. It takes a little while. Like, these are things that it really just comes down to practice. Okay, so you can expand it out a little bit if you want to, but what we got to do now is we got to hunt for the end of the video, just like we hunted for the beginning. Let's find out where you finished everything off, and you hit end the webinar and you hit stop. And then I'm going to let you do this one on your own, is that you're going to cut those clips into parts and you're going to delete the two end pieces.
Okay, so I'm going to go all the way to here, and I'm going to expand it out a little bit.
Yeah, you can expand it out a little bit, and generally what I do just for finessing things is that I'll look for the audio waveform about where I stop talking, and at that point that's where I'll cut. But we'll let you find the end and do the cut.
Yeah, let me go over here.
So did you keep talking after the presentation was done?
No, we ended it, and this is about where. So basically, where I say I really appreciate it is where I wanted it to. I would want it to end.
Okay, well then at that point, do the cut that I taught you how to do, and I'll teach you how to do one quick little cleanup thing, because you can see that last slide doesn't really end in a good spot. It's kind of off screen.
Right.
So we can fix that though. That's not a big worry.
Let me use my tools here. So, right here is where. So I'm going to.
If you can highlight the clip that you want and say split clip at Playhead, or you can click on the Playhead and there should be split all clips, but you know, whatever way you want to do it, this will work fine. That's right. And you want to do the same for the one below it.
And here, split clip at Playhead, and then I'm going to go back up to this one.
Yeah, you can delete.
And I'm going to cut.
Yeah, you can Command X or cut, and just get rid of those. So that now that we've got the end, and if you have an outro or you want to, you know, leave something nice at the very end of a video, you can do that. But we're not going to be too concerned about that one for this at least. So now take your Playhead and scrub it back to where the slide was still nice and centered inside the window.
Okay, let me do this a little bit. The magnifying glass. Okay, so there's that.
Okay. So now, does he say anything before you clip that off to the side?
Let me see.
Okay, yeah. So you have the audio here that's a little different. So now you know the audio track where he is on is the bottom one, correct?
Yes.
So
yes.
Right click on that clip, and I want to see something that pops up here. There's Detach Audio. Okay, so what that's going to do is that it's going to give you an audio stream and a video stream. And at this point, we want to edit just the video and leave the audio. So this is how you can do that. You hit Detach Audio, and it will make two streams for you. So now if you know how we expanded the bottom so you could see all the clips. You don't always have to do this. You could use a scroll bar on the side if you keep yourself organized. But for this, we're going to do it that way just so that we can see everything. So now you can see where his audio clips are. You don't have to worry about his audio is always going to be there. So now let's scroll back to where the screen was nice, or where you had the slide in that was nice.
Let's see. Right?
It doesn't have to be perfect, just rough it. So that'll be fine.
Right there.
Right. Now split the clip at the Playhead. The video clip, that's correct. Okay. Now delete that section out.
And I'm going to cut. And
now,
there it is.
Right. Now take the Playhead and move it back. Like what you can do is you can use the arrow keys. So if you hit the left arrow key, it should move back like 1 or 2 frames at a time. Okay, stop there.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Now right click inside that video into that video clip as well. And leave the Playhead there. That's right.
In the video clip, correct?
That's right. So right click. And what you want to do is add freeze frame. Do you see that in the list?
Yes.
Okay, hit that. So what it's going to do is it's going to basically give you a little freeze frame that you can use, and that's going to be an exact copy of that frame that the cursor was sitting on, right?
Oh.
So this is like, it's a little arduous, but there's like a little sort of redundant clip at the very, very end of that video clip. You can delete that out. So you can, I want to say Control X because of Windows, but yeah, cut that out. Now put your cursor over the back end of
Okay.
that freeze frame and drag it to the very end of the video. There you go. So now, if you drag the end of the video or the playhead to the end of the video, you're just going to have that question slide showing. So you don't have to worry about the stuff that was kind of ugly.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I didn't
Okay.
even realize that was possible.
Yeah. So, okay, now one thing we haven't been doing that you should always do, after about 1 or 2 moves, hit Command S or save your file. So let's save our file now that we have everything edited, just so that we know we've got all the edit and the cuts. We don't want to lose this. We don't want to have to redo this, right?
Right.
So choose save. That's right.
Okay.
Good. Now at this point, we want to, like, all the edits are done. Are you comfortable with, like, you know, how the intro comes in and where it all ends?
Yeah. I
Good.
mean, that's
Okay,
great.
cool. So we're at the render phase. We're in the home stretch. Hit file.
Okay.
You want to go for export at the very bottom. Okay, this is where the ninja-like abilities come in. This is how you can make. In the last presentation that I put on Video Blog Basics, it walks you through the settings that you need here. But it's always good to go through it a few times. Make sure that you burn it into people's head. So the preset that you have is web high, which is good. So what that means is that it's going to go through the rendering twice. So that's fine. We're going to leave that the way it is. But we're going to hit the customize button just below it.
Okay.
So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to make the audio and the video as small as it possibly can without looking like crap. So under the video check mark, hit settings. Now, current frame rate. Take that to 10 frames per second. If you're doing a capture like this, actually even for you, Shane, 8 frames per second would be adequate because you don't have any transitions or anything between your slides. So always go for the
Right.
smallest possible frames per second you can. So how about you choose 8 frames per second?
Okay.
Okay. Now, keyframes.
Yes.
Just have it as automatic, and there's a checkbox under there that says frame reordering. Check that.
Okay.
Okay, the setting underneath quality that says faster encode. We've got a little bit of time and your computer's got lots of processing power, so if you're not in a rush, do best quality multipass.
Okay.
Okay? After that, we're done in this dialog box. We can hit OK and we're done there. So those are like the best settings. Remember, just the smallest frame rate that you can possibly get away with. Allow the encoding mode as multipass. And don't worry about the dimensions. Dimensions are actually covered by the dialog behind this, but we're not quite there yet. So under the sound setting, hit the sound settings box. Now, unless you're playing some really groovy music and you need to have every like little bit of intonation perfectly, you do not need to have stereo. So let's turn that to mono. That removes one channel of stuff that you just don't need. Okay. That reduces file size substantially. Now the rate.
Wow.
What I like to do is I go just below the mono. There's 44.1. Hit that, and you want to take that down to 32 kilohertz. Or use the arrows off to the side, actually. Okay.
There we go.
Right? Now, render settings, this is a little different. This is how many kilobits per second it does with the target bit rate. Turn that to 32 kilobits per second. That one's fine. Normal's fine. The one underneath, yeah. Turn that to 32. Okay? And that's fine. That will sound fine for people talking, and it's clear enough.
Right.
But again, it makes for a very small file size. So we can say OK at this point. And
Okay.
yeah, you'll say OK. Okay, now you saw prepare for internet streaming. So let's
Yes.
okay. Make sure that is checked. Absolutely,
That would be
unequivocally. That is probably the most important part about this whole thing, especially if you're going to be streaming the video on your site and hosting the video yourself. Prepare for internet streaming is the most important checkbox.
Okay.
So that one's checked, so we're okay. And fast start is the default. That's fine. Okay. Now on the dimensions, it has scale by 50%. We don't want to scale it by 50%, so choose 100%.
Okay.
And at this point, all you need to do is you hit export. It's going to save it as Tyler, how do you pronounce his last name again?
Tervoren.
Okay, so Tyler Tervoren, what it's going to do is it's going to save the file out on your desktop with that name .mov.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, post the video. You're done.
Wow. Huh. That's
So,
great.
So the one thing, some people, it seemed a little bit arduous and slow going through me coaching you how to do this, but let's just look at this in a sense that this webinar is about an hour long. I coached you on how to edit the video minus the intro, but if you look at some of the previous video blog basics, it shows you how to make the intros really quick. You can make an intro in 5 minutes or less if you're really good. I can do that sometimes. And once you get good at just doing the editing process can be another 10 minutes after the webinar is done. Render time's another 10 or 15 minutes, and you're posting online. So, like, I've been doing stuff with you, Shane, for a little bit, and how fast do I usually turn around your webinars? This is the one exception where I couldn't do it because I was really busy, but
usually less than 20 minutes.
Right. So if you're recording a webinar, you're recording a screen capture using Screenflow, after a little bit of practice, you'll easily be able to post things online within 20 minutes. And that's basically it. I'll put this recording online for people to see, and hopefully it'll help everybody out. But that's it. That's your basic editing workflow for Screenflow. We'll cover Camtasia on Windows here in a little bit, but yeah, that's about it.
Well, thanks, Ben. I'll get to use this actually in about 3 hours.
What, you're not going? What? How about we have a race?
Well then, I'm just kind of excited because I have only ever opened Screenflow a few times, but I didn't really know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And the other thing too that both Shane and I do when Shane's doing a webinar, when Chris and I are doing webinars, when I'm doing webinars with anybody, is people depend on me to make the recording and do the edit. That is fine. But there's one thing: if they have Screenflow or if they have any screen capture software whatsoever, I ask them to record on their end at the same time. The reason being is that there might be some glitchy thing that happens on my computer. It happens to everybody. My internet connection might fail. The audio might not be there. But if I have two recordings, even if I don't use that second recording, there's a huge safety net in having somebody else record at the same time. So if you have the opportunity to do a webinar like we are now, having both people record at the same time is hugely helpful, and it really does build a safety net. In fact, Chris Garrett and I, we've backed each other up, I'm thinking 2 or 3 times within I figure about 30 recordings that we've done together. I've had to help him and he's had to help me back and forth with the files that we save. So, that's like a 30% chance that something might go wrong. Don't take that chance. Just make sure that you have a secondary recording.